Gramps and me. When I first met Gramps, or should I say my first memory of him, was in the fall of 1940. It was the year Grandma almost died of diabetes. They were living in Dearborn, Michigan with their three daughters, Muriel, Marjorie, and Marion. Gramps had a good job at Ford, foreman or something. They lived in a brick house, and Mom, who took me along, went up to take care of her mother. It was touch and go for a while. She almost died. It was in the first days of the use of insulin, and people didn't know how to regulate it well. Sometimes she was given too much and had a violent reaction. Sometimes not enough and became kind of drunk. Hard times in the family. Mom did all that she could. The two younger girls, her half-sisters, were back in school. The older away at work during the day. It was up to Mom to take charge, and take charge she did. She detested Gramps, and for good reason, which I'll explain later. But when he called on her, she did what she perceived her duty. Gramps was a big and I guess handsome man. I remember a picture of him in his World War I uniform with his campaign hat wrapped around leggings and jodhpur pants. Heck, he was good looking. Grandma, later in life when I was older, always said she fell in love with the uniform. I still remember he brought me a sack of candy corn at the dime store. We both ate it on the way home. His girls, my aunts, doted on me. I was their baby, and I loved it. Guns can be dangerous. Gramps had a semi-automatic .22 rifle. Every time you pulled the trigger, it fired until the magazine was empty. There was an old shed out in the woods behind his and Grandma's house down in Odin, Indiana. He kept supplies in it for feeding the chickens and hogs that they kept. One day we were out there with the .22 and he let me carry it. He took it back to shoot at some crows. I think he hit one, I'm not sure. Then he gave it back to me and said, "Go ahead, Jimmy, see if you can get one." He stood behind me to show me how to hold it while firing and again said, "Go on, see what you can do." The first thought I had was, I don't want to kill anything, but I do want to see how it feels to shoot. So I made my move. I think there were 5 bullets left in the magazine, so I pointed it straight up and started pulling the trigger. Bang, 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 bang. Gramps looked astonished. He yanked me back under the eaves of the shed, and I experienced a very practical matter. Everybody, even an 8-year-old kid, knows that what goes up must come down. But I hadn't thought of that. 4 of the missiles landed in front of us, about 5 or 10 yards or so, but one landed right on the eave above us. I don't think it would have killed me, but it sure would have hurt. Gramps looked at me down over his glasses and wasn't smiling. "Give me back the gun," he said. "Guess you're not ready for rifles yet." He turned and walked slowly back to the house, not saying another word. When we got there, Grandma asked, "You guys have fun?" Gramps just shook his head in a kind of grim disappointment. "I almost got hit by a falling bullet," I reported to Grandma. "Guns can be dangerous," she said. "Yeah," I said. "I still think so." Gramps. Never throw a stick for a dog to retrieve sideways like you were skipping a rock on the water. Throw it end to end so when it bounced it would keep going. My Gramps taught me this, and we practiced both ways, sitting in the lawn chairs out back of his house under the big cedar tree. It was late in the summer, and needles already covered the chairs, one blue, one red. We didn't care. We just brushed them off and sat down. The chairs kind of bounced a little till they adjusted to the weight. Mine more than his. I was bouncy. He was fat. We both had sticks about a foot long, shorn of any side twigs. Duke and Spot were ready. So were we. I went first. I leaned over and in a sidearm motion set the stick a-sail. It went round and round like a helicopter prop. Duke played it like a New York Yankee outfielder. He was there before it even landed and caught it just as it landed, racing back with it but dropping it at the foot of Gramps' chair. A little dog commentary, I think. He didn't like them sailed, he said. No challenge. Throw it end to end. Okay. And so I did, only this time even further, and then a lengthy triple bounce. Duke grabbed it off the ground and raced it back, this time to me. Gramps was right. Spot obediently just sat there by Gramps until he saw Gramps about to throw. He leaped to the ready. The stick flew through the air. I held on to Duke so he wouldn't go fetch it. Spot didn't move except to look at Gramps and then me. Tell him to find. Okay, find. Up leaped Spot in racing form, picked it up without ever breaking stride and brought it back to the thrower, not me. We sat there a while throwing sticks for the dogs, who never seemed to tire of it. We did, though, and finally went inside, got a double cola from the icebox, opened it, and went outside again to sit in the metal chairs. Double cola, Summer, Duke, Spot, me, and Gramps. Pretty good.